Dum-de-dum. And we are recording. Guess what, folks? It's a Sunday. Yes, it fucking is. Time for a bit of What's Up. Anyone remember these? Cigalikes. So Aspire have decided to make the Cigalike comeback. This is the Nexi 1 kit. It's the full kit. So what I've got here is essentially two Cigalikes with a battery pack, and all you do is one goes in there, starts charging, the other one goes in there, starts charging. So it's a battery bank that holds two Cigalikes. This is now a thing. It's now a thing. I know exactly why Aspire's doing it, by the way. I mean, you can't get more simpler than a Cigalike. You really can't get more simpler than a Cigalike, especially for the disposable users who are now going to be running out of disposables. Now, yes, the disposable ban did happen about, 2 months ago now? But here's the thing, a lot of these big companies, big supermarkets like fucking Tesco, Asda, all these supermarkets that are still selling disposables right now, ordered them in bulk on a run-up about a week and a half, roughly a week and a half to a week before the ban hit. That's why there was a lot of these news reports that were going around in the likes of ITN and STV News along with The Guardian, that there was a massive upsurge in the importation of disposables on the run up to the ban. Now, those orders are now running out. They're now running out because it's been a month and a half to 2 months now. Eventually that huge backlog is going to run out. They can't order any more in, so where are the disposable users going to go? You can't get more simple than a Cigalike. You really can't. If anyone remembers these things, it's even using the classic 810B connection that a lot of the old Cigalikes from 2013 and 2014 used to use. It's the same connection. Same fucking connection. But yeah, I mean, this thing's up for review next week, and when I first seen it, I thought, really, Aspire? Really? A Cigalike? Really? And then I thought, well, hold on a minute here. So, these things come in cardboard boxes. Simple, plain, cheap packaging to keep the cost down. The 3 pods, or 3 cartridges, they're not pods, the 3 cartridges come in simple boxes, and you get 3 in each cartridge, or 3 in each cardboard box. So you get 2 of these for pennies essentially, and the money is made back by the charge bank, because you basically need the charge bank to charge these things up, right? So they come separate. You need to buy this separate from these two. It's because of the TPD and TRPR laws and all that stuff. So I think this is retailing, the actual battery bank's retailing for something like £9 or something like that, and these are basically pennies because it's just a tiny thin battery. And yeah, you just pop one in there, you pop the other in there, charge ports down at the base, and you let them charge up. And I'll say this now, the flavours are actually they're not brilliant, but they're not bad. So I've got the blue tobacco in here. Where is it? I've got the blue tobacco in here, and it's not the greatest tobacco flavour, but for an artificial tobacco flavour, it's actually not bad. It's not bad. £20mg Nic salt, slight hint of sweetness. It's not like a disposable sweetness level, slight hint of a sweetness, and it gets the job done. So yeah, review for this is up next week, along with another Aspire product. This thing, Aspire seem to have a thing about battery banks all of a sudden. They sent 3 items in and 2 of them had a battery bank. It's this. Very simple little pod kit. Again, it's part of the Nexi line. This is the Nexi 1. This is the Nexi Pro. USB charge port down there. Or battery bank. I don't know what it is with Aspire and battery banks. Apparently they've got a thing for battery banks right now. So yeah, after the last What's Up that went up, I got some messages and a couple of emails saying, well hold on Vic, you never said what can people do, because the last What's Up was just bad news. End of the fucking industry, we're all fucked. That was the last WhatsApp, and I never put a ray of sunshine at the end, because I wasn't really in the mood to put a ray of sunshine at the end of that particular video, because I was getting more and more pissed off as the video was going on. Because if you watch that video back, you can see what's happening. You can see exactly what's happening. It's segments of the industry trying to kill off the rest of the industry for their own benefit. That's basically what this comes down to. Segments of the industry is trying to kill off the rest of the industry so they make more money and give us less choice. We are looking at the gradual monopolization of the UK vaping industry to such an extent that it's going to be about 4, maybe 5 companies that are running the entire UK industry. Now, I'm not talking about companies over in Shenzhen and China, but I'm talking about companies based in the UK, retail and wholesale side. It's going to be 4 or 5 companies that are basically controlling this industry. And we're already kind of at that stage with the wholesale industrial side in the UK. We're already at that stage. There are whispers, and they're only whispers, but they're whispers of price fixing going on over on LinkedIn. And those whispers have been going on for the past 3 or 4 months, since the end of the new year. There's whispers of price fixing going on. Telling you, if you're a vape reviewer watching this, get a LinkedIn account and start friending a load of people in the e-cig industry in the UK and over in China. Some of the stuff that they post, the messy underbelly of the UK vaping industry. I mean, okay, granted, about 40% of it is just rumours and hearsay, but the other 60%, oh, it's happening. It's happening. That's where I get most of my rumours from the industry, from LinkedIn. That and a little bit from a couple of the politicians that actually still talk to me. I've told the rest of them to go fuck themselves. But yeah, if you're a vape reviewer or you're into advocacy, make a LinkedIn account. Start friending all the people in the UK industry. All the big names, from VPZ, from Totally Wicked, from Vape Club, all the big names, all of them. And then start friending all the people over in Shenzhen and China. CEOs and CTOs of Aspire, Smoor, Vaporesso. Friend them all. It would surprise you, some of the stuff they end up posting. It would surprise you. But yeah, that's what we're looking at in the UK. We are looking at the slow monopolisation of the UK industry. That's what we're looking at right now. And when all is said and done, if the stamp duty tax remains on the books as it's written, there goes your independent vape shops. They're gone. They're gone. Every single one of them, with no exceptions. They are gone. That's what we're facing right now in the UK. UK VIA's not kicking up a storm about it. The IBVTA has probably got a hand in it actually happening. The all-party parliamentary group to do with responsible vaping have got a hand in it happening. Nobody's kicking up a storm. I am one of the few UK reviewers actually putting my head above the parapet and saying all of this. Stu from Vape Smarter was putting his head above the parapet long before I was doing this to let people know what the hell's going on. It would surprise you how many independent vape shops don't even know this law or these laws are on the books. And they're probably not even going to find out until they get a knock on the door by trading standards now telling them that they are now illegally selling all of their liquids without the 3-stage tax. Or they'll end up finding out when they actually put in another order, because they'll find out their wholesale orders for their favourite 50ml Riot Juice bottles have now tripled in price instead of being the usual wholesale price, and they'll be sitting there scratching their heads thinking, hold on a minute, we can't afford to sell this. Who the fuck's going to walk into our shop and spend 50 quid on a 50ml bottle? Nobody. Shop after shop after shop after shop. Independent vape shops that hold the feet of VPZ, Totally Wicked and Vape Club to the fire to keep them in check. Shop after shop after shop disappearing from the high street. Yeah. And with all the little independent shops gone, you can bet your bottom fucking dollar that VPZ, and probably more especially Totally Wicked, or at least what remains of Totally Wicked, will not just increase their prices, they will drastically increase their prices, because they know that nobody else is selling their liquids. Supermarkets selling liquids, usually short fills, gone. They'll probably stick to pre-filled pod kits. Corner shops and petrol stations selling liquids, gone. They'll be sticking with pre-filled pod kits. So in corner shops, garages, supermarkets, it'll be pre-filled pods like the new generation of Felums that are going to be coming out. I got the newsletter about that from Smoor. Apparently there's going to be a new Felum kit being made and launched in the UK and some sections of Europe with pre-filled pods, which is what the Felum was known for. Juul, oh yeah, Juul are now pushing into the UK market again because they've seen the fall of disposables, they've seen the new laws coming in, and they realise that the days of this is gone. It's coming to an end within a year. And a lot of these people that are doing this who don't know how to DIY will now be forced to do this or this. Out you come. Instead. And let's be honest, folks, what's left of the cloud chucking people, the stock oil sub-ohm tank folks who are still using stock oil sub-ohm tanks, they don't do rebuildables. They don't. The rebuildable side of the market, this side of the market, is a niche within a niche. The stock oil sub-ohm tank users who will no longer be able to afford their liquids will simply go back onto pod kits and start mouth to lunging again. And this is where the likes of the Felum and the Juul come into play, because they're pre-filled pods. Get the pod, plop it in, and you're done. Yeah, we are looking at the slow, ongoing monopolization of the UK industry. But what about people like us? Most of you probably watching this video who have an idea about rebuildable tanks, who want to keep using your Steam Crave Aromomizer, what are they up to now, 3? Who want to keep using your Steam Crave Titan with its fucking 25ml juice capacity. What about you guys? What are you going to do? And what are the stock oil sub-ohm tank users out there going to do to keep using your stock oil sub-ohm tank? 3 letters. DIY. Now, yes, there is a line in there about if you make your own liquid, you need to declare it to the HMRC. Let's be fucking honest here. Who is going to actually phone up the HMRC every time they make 100ml bottle of their favourite strawberry liquid? Hello, Mr. Taxman. I've just made 100 millilitres of my favourite e-liquid. How much tax do I... Fuck off! Get to fuck! Like, fucking seriously. Putting that line in, that DIY makers have to declare the liquids that they're making in the privacy of their own home. What? What? Do fucking home brewers have to do that? So you get a home brew kit from the likes of Boots or the likes of Tesco and you make your home brew in your bedroom. Are you phoning up the HMRC and letting them know you're making your fucking 2 or 4% fucking hoppy beer mix? No! So why the fuck do vapors have to do it? Eh? It's because those cunts, those communist cunts over in the Labour Party want more and more and more and more and more and more money. They have lost billions, tens of billions, in some estimations almost hundreds of billions of pounds of tax revenue because the amount of smokers has decreased substantially since 2012. Decreased, almost halved compared to 2012. And a lot of them remain vaping. 4.2 to 4.5 million vapors in the UK, depending on what number you believe in. The British government would love nothing more than to partially collapse the UK industry to the stage that it's basically controlled by 4 or 5 large monopolistic companies in the UK, who can then fix the prices to the government's liking and fix the tax rates embedded into the wholesale industrial of said 10ml bottles of juice, said pod kits and said starter kits, along with kits like this, whoever's going to buy them. Because by the time this ban, or not ban, by the time this fucking tax thing comes in, these are not going to be sold unless the person buying them knows how to DIY. But here's the other problem on top of this. There is rumours, now I don't know if this is true, but what I've heard is 10ml bottles of flavouring, or 20ml bottles of flavouring, or 30ml bottles of flavouring, just the flavour. Technically speaking, the way that this white paper's been written up, flavourings come under the tax system as well. Now the PG and VG side of things is extremely easy to get around. Your local Boots the Chemist sells 1, 2 or 5 litre jugs of vegetable glycerine and usually 1 litre jugs of propylene glycol. Failing that, Loose Mill, L-U-C-E-M-I-L-L, Loose Mill, they're based up here in Scotland. They are not a vape shop. They are a chemical trader. They've always been a chemical trading company. You can buy all sorts of crazy stuff over at Loose Mill. But more importantly, they sell vegetable glycerin in 5 litre big carrying jug things, and they also sell propylene glycol. Because hey, vegetable glycerin is a common liquid used in all sorts of things. From cookery to toothpaste. From shampoo to fucking moisturising cream. And propylene glycol is a very common aspect of the likes of non-toxic antifreeze, and it's also used, get this, in water cooling in PCs. Did you know that? Propylene glycol is an antibactericide and antimicrobial. For the people that don't know this, it's a very mild antimicrobial and a very mild antibactericide. So PC, like the hardcore, mine's is water cooled, but it's an AIO loop. It's an all-in-one loop. I didn't do the water cooling myself because I'd probably fuck it up and wreck my PC. But for all these hardcore water cooling people, they put, I think it's something like 10%, either 10 or 15% propylene glycol mixed in with the water that they pour into the radiator and pipe system. And the propylene glycol stops algae growing in the loop. Kills it fucking dead. It's amazing what uses propylene glycol actually has. It's amazing what uses it actually has. But Loose Mill does sell large fucking 5 litre tub things of vegetable glycerin and propylene glycol, and they're pretty damn quick with their postage as well. So your PG and VG sorted out. If you can't get it from your local vape shop because they stopped selling it, or you can't get it online at your favourite DIY shop because they've stopped selling it, Loose Mill, they're not a vape shop. They're not. They've never been a vape shop, which means their jugs of PG and VG will not be taxed. Very important. Flavourings is going to be the problem. Flavourings, if it stands true that the bottles of flavourings falls under the same tax regime because they're being sold in a vape shop, you need to find somewhere else to get your flavours. Now, some of you are probably going to run down to the likes of fucking Boots the Chemist or Tesco and just buy No, if you're going to buy food flavourings, you need to make sure that the food flavouring you're thinking of buying, if this ban or not ban, if the tax thing does happen and all these flavour shops end up shutting down, and we're talking a year from now, you don't need to do it right now, we're talking a year from now, if you're going to go out and buy your food flavourings from Tesco or Asda or somewhere else, you need to look closely at the label to make sure 2 things. Number 1, the flavouring is not in an oil-based solution. Vaping oil is bad. Bad. Number 2, you need to make sure your food flavouring is either water-based, actually in the solution, water-based, or propylene glycol-based. Now, from what I know, I think most of the food flavourings that are being sold from vape shops, I think it's propylene glycol based flavouring, or the small percentage is water based. Make sure, if a year from now the worst fucking happens and all these online vape shops, like the e-cig shop for instance, is forced to shut their doors because they basically can't sell food flavouring anymore because their food flavouring is now part of the tax regime. Make sure if you're buying your food flavourings from a supermarket, it is not oil based. It has to be PG based or water based, preferably PG based. I mean, water can vaporise, right, in a tank, but you're better off with PG because it vaporises better than water. It does. It's got a lower vaporising temperature compared to water. So the food flavouring part is going to be risky. Not right now, but a year from now. It's going to be risky. The big problem? Nicotine. Because the one thing we need to remember, and this was added in before the stamp duty tax system was added in. Nicotine itself is part of the tax bracket for vaping products. Now, the actual bottle that the nicotine comes in is technically part of the tax bracket for the vaping stamp duty tax. And then on top of that, you've got the VAT added on top of it. So what used to be I don't know what the price of nicotine is right now. I mean, the last time I bought nicotine, it was a fucking big 2 litre jug of the fucker. And that was about 100 quid, I think, from what I remember. 80, 100 quid, something like that. But I mean, let's say you're buying a 500ml, a half litre bottle of 72mg free-based nicotine, which is what I usually buy. I usually buy it in half litre batches. And I think it's around about 50, 60 pound. So that 50, 60 pound of 500 millilitres of 72mg per millilitre free-based nic all of a sudden becomes about 150 pound. Nicotine tax, product tax, stamp duty tax, VAT, importation, because most of it's imported. The UK doesn't actually make its own nicotine anymore. In fact, the UK stopped making its own nicotine last year. Most of the nicotine that we're using now is imported from France, Poland or Germany. If it's imported from Poland, guaranteed it's Chemnovatic that made it, and they usually make pretty damn good nicotine. But yeah, nicotine's going to be the biggest problem. The biggest problem, because no matter where you buy the nicotine from, whether you're buying it a year from now, whether you're buying it from a vape shop, they're still going to have to import it in. They're still going to have to pay the import duty. They're still going to have to pay the stamp duty. They're still going to have to pay the product duty. Yeah. Nicotine prices is going to probably quadruple once all these taxes are put into place and all the laws are put into place. And if you're a vapor that vapes nicotine in your juice, there's going to be no escaping the price raise. No escaping it at all. So all I'm going to say to you is, nicotine keeps for a very long time in a freezer. That's what I keep. Well, actually, I keep mine in the fridge because I'm only here's the way I did it. I got the 2 litre jug thing, and then I decanted some of that 2 litres into a 500 millilitre bottle. The 500 millilitre bottle is kept in the fridge so it stays longer but doesn't thicken up too much, and the 2 litre bottle is kept on the top shelf of the freezer. That way it keeps for even longer. Keeps for much longer. I would recommend getting a large batch of nicotine in. Places like Nic Hub, for instance, which is where I buy my nicotine from. Places like Nic Hub. It would amaze you if you're only vaping 3mg per millilitre. It would amaze you how long 2 litres is going to last you for. Now me, because I'm doing mouth to lung, and it's short fill mouth to lung I'm using, because it comes in 500, not 500, fuck, I wish it did, comes in 50ml bottles. I'm mixing this at 18mg per milliliter, so yeah, that 2 litre doesn't really last me as long as people, for as long as people that are vaping. 3mg does. That plus the fact that I go through a lot of peach custard at 6mg per... Yeah, I don't do 3mg anymore, folks. I do my peach custard and my black vine at 6mg per milliliter. So, yeah, that 500ml doesn't last a long time. It doesn't, but that's why I bought the 2 litre jug in. If you are a mixer, you don't need to do it right now. We've still got about a year left, and well, just under a year left in all of this. If you can't afford it right now, don't rush out and buy it. But as we get closer to round about March, kind of February, March 2026, the end of the current tax year, as we get closer to the end of the current tax year, closer and closer to Christmas and New Year, I would seriously consider, if you're a DIYer, getting a 2 litre jug of your favourite nicotine from Nic Hub, and then getting a little 300, well, you don't get 300ml bottles, a little 100ml bottle or a half litre glass bottle, and then decanting some of that into there. Keep that in the fridge so it's readily available, top shelf of the fridge so your kids can't reach it, and keep the rest of that 2 litre jug top shelf of your freezer so it keeps even longer. That's what I would do, and that's what I'm planning to do as we get closer to the end of this year. I've still got a lot of that 2 litres left, but I want a backup just in case the worst actually happens. So yeah, DIYers will still be able to DIY, but what it basically means, it's going to be that little bit more difficult to buy your favourite flavourings in. It's going to be that little bit more difficult and extremely fucking expensive to get your favourite nicotine type in. It won't be difficult to get PG and VG. Again, Loose Mill, Boots, the chemist, you can pick up PG and VG anywhere. But it's the flavourings and the nicotine that's the problem. That's what the problem is, and what I'm planning to do. Not right now, because it's pointless, but once we are past New Year and we're in 2026, as we get closer and closer to the implementation of this 3-stage tax system, I plan to do another series in eSig 101 solely dealing with the new landscape of DIY mixing in the UK. Because I'm going to come across the same fucking problems for one simple reason. I mix my own peach custard. I mix my own peach custard. So I'm going to come across the same fucking problems all the other DIY users, all the other DIY mixers are coming across as well. And that's why I fully plan, after the new year, as we get closer to the implementation of this new tax system, I fully plan to make a new series of videos all about DIY in the new regime of the Labour Party. Because the previous season that I done, of I think it was season 3 of e-liquids and DIY mixing, that's going to be out of date. Once this new tax system comes in, that video, all the fucking videos, which is a bit of a bastard because I actually enjoy making those videos, but all of those videos are going to be out of date. They're going to need to be replaced. So that's the whole idea. Once this new tax system actually comes in, they're going to need those videos are going to need to be replaced. People like us, most of you regular watchers out there, the advanced hobbyist vapor, sorry Stu, but the advanced vapor, the people that have been vaping for a number of years, who are comfortable with stock coil sub-ohm tank vaping, who are comfortable with rebuildable vaping, comfortable with your RTA, comfortable with your RDA, most of you are going to be fine, because if you don't know how to mix, you probably have a friend who knows how to mix. And that friend is going to know all the little tricks of being able to still make your favourite juice. Now, I will say, when all this tax system comes in, if you're a vaping something like this, and you're relying on a friend to make your liquids for you, if he or she is charging you money, they might start charging you a little bit more a year from now. Especially with the flavours. It's the flavours that have got me worried. well, and the nicotine for that matter, but it's really the flavours that have got me worried. Because there's one thing that you buy a lot of if you're DIY mixing, and that's flavourings. If you're doing 3mg or 6mg per millilitre in a half-litre bottle of liquid, you're only using a tiny amount of that 500ml bottle. But when it comes to flavourings, you use a lot. Especially if you're making your favourite juice up in bulk. You use a lot of flavourings if the tax system ends up encompassing flavourings. Just the bottles of flavourings, which technically speaking, the way the white paper is written right now, flavourings come under that heading. Although it's not written there, technically speaking, the way it's laid out, flavourings would come under the tax system. Now, will the Labour Party end up deciding to tighten down the rules and regulations so flavourings are not part of the tax system? That's anyone's guess. But the fact remains, the Labour Party put in that white paper, if you make your own personal liquid, you need to declare it to the HMRC. That one line alone leads me to believe that yes, when this new tax system comes in, your 10ml, 30ml, 50ml or 100ml bottle of your favourite flavouring from Inawera, 3-stage tax stacked on top of it. That one line about DIY liquid mixers having to declare to the HMRC means one thing and one thing only. The Labour Party want as much money from the vaping industry as they can possibly get their grubby little communist fucking hands on. That's what they want. They want as much money as they can get their fucking hands on, even including targeting DIY liquid mixers who are mixing their own liquids in the privacy of their own fucking home. Told you things were going to get worse next year. Any DIY liquid maker out there, like Benny Vapes for instance, how you doing Benny if you're watching this? Any DIY liquid maker out there will find ways around this system. But the big worry is still flavours, and the big worry is going to be the nicotine, because there's no longer any nicotine makers in the UK, at least as far as I know there isn't. All the nicotine has to be imported in, and because the nicotine is being imported in, the importation tax of that nicotine under the same fucking white paper is going to increase as well. So again, as I said before, price of nicotine is either going to triple or quadruple after the new tax regime comes in. It's going to become harder for DIY liquid makers to make their own liquid, but it won't be impossible. It'll just be that little bit harder. More money, essentially. That's basically what it comes down to. There is a lot of changes that is going to be facing this industry over the course of the next year and a half. And the worrying part is not enough people are actually talking about this. Not enough people are talking about it. Very few, if any, apart from me, UK reviewers have put their head above the parapet and actually mentioned what's going to be happening in a year and a half's time. Now, the caveat is, of course, I still believe that that stamp duty tax is going to be completely reworded or even completely removed before it gets implemented, because I'm still casting my mind back to the TPD days of 2014 and 2015, when there was fucking paragraph after paragraph stripped out of that original TRPR and TPD UK white paper because the UK government decided at the last minute to not implement about 3/4 of the European Union's TPD. I think that's going to happen with the Labour Party and that stamp tax duty, because there are now bound to be more and more people, whether it be vape shop owners, independent vape shop owners, or whether it be vapers now contacting their local MPs saying, hey, your stamp tax duty is going to wipe out about 70% of the vape shops in my local high street. Up and down the country. All we're going to be left with is VPZ and Totally Wicked. Why are you doing this, Labour, you bunch of communist morons? Yeah. All we can do, folks, is basically wait and see. That's all we can basically do. Right now, for the next year, well, just under a year, things are going to be normal. They're going to be normal for roughly the next year. But as we get closer and closer to the start of the new tax year, the 1st of April 2026, when we get to that point in time, that is when the product duty tax system is implemented. In October of 2026, that is when the stamp duty tax... Is it October 2020? No, sorry. I think it's October 2027, because I think there's a year gap. I need to check that again, but I know the product duty tax system is implemented next year, and I think the stamp duty tax system is implemented the year after. There's a longer run-in for that. But yeah, for the next year at least, roughly speaking, the next year, prices are going to remain stable. DIYers can still DIY with no problems at all. It's what happens as we get halfway through 2026. That's the big worry, because there's going to be a number of drastic changes happening to the industry as we get from the middle of 2026 to the beginning of 2027. There is going to be drastic changes happening to the industry, and any independent vape shop with any kind of savvy business mind, they're probably going to shut their shop at the beginning of 2027. If they get any kind of savvy, they're going to get out of the market long before these new taxes are implemented. Yeah. It's like, you know, for Nick Salts, that's still a hell of a throat hit. Anyway, I think that basically covers it, folks. There needs to be more UK reviewers talking about this. There needs to be more UK influencers talking about this. But the fact is, there isn't. Too many people in the UK influencer and reviewer scene are burying their heads in the sand. A lot of them are probably thinking, well, fuck you, Jack, I'm alright, because they can still do their DIY mixing. For now, at least, they can still do their DIY mixing. But what about all your followers who are relying on you, whether you're an influencer or reviewer? What about all you followers who are relying on you to keep people up to date with the news of what's happening in the UK industry? It's all well and good burying your head in the sand, not doing anything. But when it gets to the stage that you are then forced to speak out, because people like me have been speaking out for months, to the point you decide to speak out, by the time you decide to speak out, it's going to be too late. And then all your followers are going to blame you for not keeping them up to date with what's happening. There goes your follower base. Yeah, there goes your follower base. Like me or hate me. And trust me, a lot of people hate me, because I can be a bit of an asshole sometimes. That's just me. Like me or hate me, I've always been willing to stick my head above the parapet and talk about advocacy when nobody else wanted to do it. Or at least nobody else in the reviewing and influencer scene wanted to do it. And for a long time, for at least the past year, up until the What's Up a couple of weeks ago, I was not wanting to broach this subject, because the way things are, being honest, the way things are, some of those laws will still change. And I still believe that that stamp duty tax system is either going to be completely reworked or totally removed before it gets implemented, because the Labour Party must know that if that comes into law, they are wiping out over half of the industry. Just like that. But then again, VPZ, Totally Wicked and Vape Club are looking forward to that happening. It's the industry itself fighting against the industry. We're all caught in the middle of it. We're all caught in the middle of it. But that's the fucking state we're in right now. I was having a chat on a Zoom room. In fact, what was it, a Zoom room? Or it might have been a social media post, or I was chatting to somebody in IM about this. I'm hoping that the Vapor Round Award is on this October. I mean, I don't even know if I'm actually going to make it to the October Expo, because number one, I can't fucking afford it, and number two, I've got no money, that's why I can't afford it. But if I could afford it, and I was going, I was kind of hoping that the Vapor Round Award was going to be this October, and I'd win it, And that way I can get up on stage and call out all these fucking industry boffins sitting there with their millions of fucking pounds, laughing away as they're shafting the entire fucking vaping community and shafting 3/4 of the vaping industry just to make more fucking bucks to stuff in their fucking pockets so they can buy more Lamborghinis and fucking yachts at the cost of the entire vaping industry, the cost of people's consumer rights, and the cost of people's consumer choice. I would love to get uproariously drunk and call them all out in front of them on the Vapor Round stage. It would probably be the last time I'd be invited to the Vapor Round Awards, but it'd be worth every fucking minute. Yes, it fucking would. It'd be worth every fucking minute. Anyway, I'm probably not going to the October Expo, folks. I can't afford it. Simple as that. Universal credit on self-employment. I'm only getting £350 a month. Yeah, all you people out there. Oh, Dick's getting £1,000 if you need £350 a month. That's all I'm getting. Because I'm still making a small income from the Patreon. So you see is cut because I'm still making an income from the Patreon side of things. So I'm only getting £350 a month universal credit. That's all I'm getting. I mean, fuck the hotel room. Just for the fucking 4-night stay at the Premier Inn, 400, because I priced it up a couple of 470. It would be cheaper for me to go to fucking Belgium. Although why would I want to go? Well, actually they make good chocolate in Belgium. It'd be cheaper for me to go to fucking Belgium for a 4-night stay at a relatively budget cheap hotel, and that's flights, hotel included in the price. I need to buy my own food, but I need to buy my own food anyway. Well, some of my own food at fucking Birmingham. Birmingham fucking airport of all places. 475 fucking for a foot. No! Yeah, I can't fucking afford it. Can't afford it. Unless there's a string of fast track review. It would take about 4 fast track reviews. Yeah, about 4. It would take about 4 fast track reviews for me to save up enough money to go to the UK Vapor Expo. Now, there's still a month and a half, 2 months to go until the Expo, so there might be a string of 4 fast track reviews, but I doubt it. I doubt it very much. So the odds are I'm probably not going to be at the October Expo, folks. Odds are. However, if that string of fast track reviews happens, yeah, or a vape shop decides to sponsor me. Nah, that's not going to happen either. Most of the vape shops fucking hate me as well. It's the one thing about being outspoken and talking about advocacy in a clear and concise and no bullshit manner. You make a lot of enemies. It's probably why a lot of other reviewers don't bother talking about advocacy these days. Because when it gets to the stage that the industry itself is fighting the industry, you've got to start naming names. You've got to. You have to. But there we go. But if you are a reviewer or an influencer and you're watching this, you don't need to direct your followers to my video because you probably hate me or your followers might hate me. Direct your followers to the white paper. Just do a Google search. Do a Google search for the white paper. Direct your followers to the white paper and tell your followers, don't ask them to, tell them to pay special attention to the vaping products duty tax and the vaping stamp duty tax, especially the stamp duty tax, because when they see those numbers and they do quick napkin arithmetic in their head, they'll realise that that 50ml bottle of their favourite liquid, instead of costing £15.99, it's going to cost £45.99, $50.99, and then they'll start to worry. And the more normal vapors out there, the more normal vapors start to worry, the more of them will start to phone up their MP. The more of them will start to go to their local MP and say, hey, the fuck's this? You're going to shut down my favourite fucking vape shop, you clown. That's what we need. We need more voices shouting constantly at the Labour Party to give them pause for thought with the stamp duty tax. The product duty tax, that's not going to go. It's too late for that to go. It's the stamp duty tax that has to be removed or completely altered in a way that it doesn't wreck the fucking industry. The stamp duty tax is the big problem here, and it's always been the big problem. That needs to be reworded. That needs to be calmed down. It needs to be toned down or even completely removed. That's what needs to happen. But the problem we've got is there is not enough voices in the vaping community and the outside vaping community, the 4.2 to 4.5 million vapors out there who toddle into the local VPZ for their fucking favourite 10ml bottle of their favourite VPZ home juice that they use in their little Caliburn. Those are the vapors that need to be targeted, but that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because there's no ground foundation for advocacy currently in the UK. And as I said before, I'm not fucking doing it. There needs to be an advocacy group, but I am not fucking doing it. No, somebody else needs to. Somebody who's not as pissed off and angry as me. Yeah. Somebody who can actually talk to the politicians without shouting at them, which is what I'd done to several Labour politicians a number of months ago, which is why I don't really talk to the APPG that much these days. But yeah, I actually shouted at them on a Zoom call. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck? Seriously? You clowns, you're going to fucking... I actually said it to them. Most of them hung up. I've got very little patience for politicians these days. Especially Labour politicians. Very little patience for them. But anyone who's going to head some kind of consumer advocacy group has to be someone level-headed who's not going to fly off the handle at any least spark that happens in front of them. Has to be someone with decor. Someone with a calm mind. Not me, in other words. That's why I'm not fucking doing it. No. Sure, if a big consumer advocacy group backed up by big names is going to be started in the UK, I will more than happily join their membership. I will more than happily do some advertising for them. I'm not going to fucking run it though. No, somebody else needs to do it because I'm not. Nope. Not going to fucking happen. Until there is some kind of groundswell, a foundational base for advocacy to actually build upon, there will be no advocacy in the UK. This ranty little fat dude here, ranting into this camera, this is not advocacy, folks. This is just me giving you a shit ton of bad news. Advocacy actually means talking to the people in charge and actually getting something done. This is just me ranting, giving you all the bad news because nobody, well apart from Stu, nobody else wants to do it. How you doing, Stu, by the way? Good job on those videos you made. But this isn't advocacy. This is just a ranty fat Scotsman ranting about how shit things are going to become in 2026 and 2027. Real advocacy is walking up to the politicians and having a word with them. Real advocacy is being part of the all-party parliamentary group to do with responsible vaping and being invited to sit at the table with Action on Smoking and Health and the IBVTA as part of the process. That's advocacy. This isn't. It's just me ranting into a camera. But nobody else is willing to give you the news, apart from Stu. Nobody else is willing to give you the news. The more people know what's going to happen to this industry in 2026, and more especially beginning of 2027, the more people talk about this, the more people know. The more people know, the more the word will spread, and then, and only then, somebody might rise up to the challenge of actually forming a well-funded and well-founded UK vaping consumer organisational group. Because until that point happens, we don't stand a fucking chance. Period. We don't. We need an advocacy group with a lot of members, tens of thousands, preferably a million members, or even 500,000. Yeah, about 500,000 members. That would probably tick the box for the Labour Party. But we need an advocacy group sitting there at the APPG meetings. We need an advocacy group talking to the politicians in the lobbying hall of the Houses of Parliament. We need a consumer advocacy group talking to the House of Lords. The trading bodies have it. John Dunn regularly talks to MPs and members of the House of Lords. And just look at his LinkedIn. He was at the House of Lords a couple of days ago. The IBVTA semi-regularly talk to Labour politicians and semi-regularly talk to people at the House of Lords. But those two bodies only represent the trade groups. They do not represent the consumers. And there is 4.2, depending on what number you believe, there's 4.2 to 4.5 million vapers out there. I reckon about 99% of them have no fucking idea what's about to happen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the industry dies. We need real advocacy. Not a short, fat, ranty Scotsman shouting at a camera. We need real advocacy. We need a consumer group. And we need it before the end of this year. Who's going to do it? Who's going to step up to the plate? I don't fucking know. I don't know. But somebody needs to. And somebody needs to do it very fucking quick. Very quick. If you're watching this and you're thinking of doing it, I would set a membership fee at either £2 a month or £5 a month. £2 a month for basic level newsletters, forums, that kind of stuff. £5 a month for insider knowledge and insider news. Don't price it out of the reach of the ordinary vapor. Don't go for a tenner a month, because that's fucking stupid. It's an advocacy group, for fuck's sake. £2 a month or a £5 a month. And then build up the membership from there. Once you get the membership money rolling in, that's when you'll be able to bring out small adverts on the likes of eSig 1. Small adverts on the likes of, I was going to say fucking Vape Club, but they won't run advocacy banners. But you know, small banner ads on the likes of eSig 1. They get tens of thousands of visitors a month. But not even a month, a week. Tens of thousands of visitors a week. An advocacy banner running on eSig 1 for a month would do a lot to spread the word. A lot to spread the word. Once your membership starts gathering, once your membership income, the actual membership fees start gathering, then you can start contacting several backbench MPs who are pro-vaping. Invite them out to lunch, because that's what John Dunn does and it works fucking wonders. Invite them out to lunch in London. Take them out to lunch, all expenses paid, and let them know that you represent an advocacy group, a consumer advocacy group for vaping with 500,000 members, roughly speaking. Paid members, not free, paid members, because that paid part makes a big difference when you're talking about advocacy groups. Because the minute you mention paid membership, it means that your advocacy group is organised. You're taking money. You're business registered as a non-prof, but you're still business registered. And more politicians pay attention to that kind of advocacy group than a free membership advocacy group. It's all about ticking the boxes when it comes to dealing with politicians, when it comes to advocacy. If someone's going to run this, it needs to be someone that knows what the fuck they're doing and is not going to start shouting randomly at politicians because politicians generally piss them off. That's why I can't run it. No. Not going to happen. Anyway, I think that about covers it for now, folks. I think there's going to be 4 reviews up next week. I think it's 4 reviews up next week. I'm just going to start pushing ahead with the reviews and cut down the backlog that's stacking up behind me here. So it's going to be 2 Aspire. Yeah, 2 Aspire and 2 Vaporesso reviews up next week. Yeah, including this little thing, the little Cigalite. I mean, that was actually... When I first looked at it, I thought, it's fucking seriously Aspire? Cigalikes? The flavours made the big difference with this. The battery is really, really short lifespan in the batteries, but it's a Cigalite, they always have been. It's the flavours that made the difference with this. Very nice flavours. Anyway, that's it from me, folks. As always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.